Hello, vinyl community. Hi, hope everybody's doing really well. Happy New Year once again. So Rob back for the Vinyl Tag 2024. Yeah, here we go. I think this is this your third year of doing this now, Rob? I believe so. So it's, I think I made a joke about it this time last year saying, oh, we go for the hat trick, and lo and behold, he has. So yeah, fabulous stuff. So yeah, thanks Rob for stepping in and doing this. Damn you, Walker. I've been down on my knees literally the last 2 nights, just going through my records, pulling out. They're literally everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And that's the reason actually why there's this very strange kind of camera angle where I'm kind of, looks like I'm kind of looking down a hole. Is because I'm actually sat on a chair because my knees are erect completely. Oh, git. And yeah, so I'm kind of trying to make myself as comfortable as possible to rattle through these questions. So yeah, I've watched a few already. A few of you were kind of like just straight out the gate, pretty quick. Getting up there. Some of the questions were I could see were quite intriguing, and I had to really kind of think about. So yeah, you've kind of surpassed yourself, I think, this year with these, Rob. So anyway, let's crack on and start with the questions in earnest then. So okay, so favorite record purchased in 2023. Okay, I've already shown my favourite find, which was Wrecked Again by Michael Chapman. So I'm going to show my favourite record, which I purchased, which was earlier in the year, which is Roy Harper's Man and Myth. So this is his last studio album that he produced in 2013. And it took me a good while to find this record. Came with a CD, which was really handy. And my other CD copy, which I bought, I actually gave to a friend, an old friend of mine who's actually quite poorly now, but I caught up with him. His wife contacted me on Facebook not long before Christmas, and I sort of gave it him as a gift for him to listen to, because he's kind of wheelchair bound and doesn't get around much. So I thought that would be nice. We used to jam together years ago and stuff. He's a good guitar player, and yeah, thought that would be nice to do. So anyway, yeah, so Roy Harper, and unfortunately there's going to be quite a bit more Roy in here as well, so strap yourselves in. Okay, so question 2. We've got last record bought in 2023. Okay, the last actual vinyl that came through the door was this one, which I've already shown. This is Dave Evans' reissue on Earth Records. Fantastic progressive folk album, one of my favourite releases or re-releases of the year. Long been deleted since 1972, when it was virtually a private pressing. I think there was only 1,500, 2,000 copies made. Very rare indeed. So yeah, but the last album that actually came through my door, which was on the 20th of December, was this one. This is Emma Anderson's first and only solo album to date, which she released this year. This is called Pearlies. Unfortunately, yeah, I tried to get the album on vinyl, but it was sold out. So made do with a CD, which I'm very happy about. So yeah, Steve Carlson showed this fairly recently, and it intrigued me because I've always been a big Lush fan. Love Mickey Berengi, Emma Anderson, who are the two girls guitarists that wrote the songs for the band Lush, yeah, sort of shoegaze band as they sort of coined them in those days in the late 80s, early 90s. Did a string of albums, then split up and got back together again briefly about 2015. But this is Emma Anderson's own, as I say, only release. Lovely dream pop release. Similar to kind of, it's got a feel of sort of later Cocteau Twins, maybe Heaven or Las Vegas, just very blissed out in places, wonderful synth washes, quite sort of transcendent in places. Love the last track, Clusters. That's absolutely wonderful. So yeah, highly recommended if you've not heard that one. Okay, band singer who released 2 or more albums in the same year. I think I pretty much thought of this one straight away. So that's Sparks, and we've got their big Island breakthrough in 1974. I think this came out in May. Richard McCook, I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong. So Kimono My House with This Town Big Enough for the Both of Us, of course, the big hit. And then later in the year, Miraculously, which I think was written while they were touring. This came out, I think, in the November. This is Propaganda. Still a very sort of frenetic, upbeat listen. Not quite as strong as Kimono, but still an excellent album. Okay, so question 4. If you could only listen to music from one decade, which would you choose? Probably like a lot of people, for me, I thought of the 60s first, because, you know, I love the Beatles, Stones, Kinks, just the sort of the late 60s kind of pop psych, psychedelia and sort of garage rock and so on. There's just so much great music. But I tend to really only be sort of into it from the sort of mid 60s onwards, I guess, generally speaking. So I thought, well, it's only kind of generally records from sort of 5 years. So I then thought of the 70s, and I thought, well, it's got to be the 70s, really. You know, and you know, I'd find it very hard to do without sort of classic rock like that. And then you've got glam, wonderful glam. Just so many styles. You got prog rock, sort of progressive folk, wonderful album, Spyrogyra, Bells, Boots and Shambles, love that album. Symphonic prog, Renaissance. And then when you've got sort of, you know, the wonderful kind of folk as well, Shirley Collins Band and the Albion Band, wonderful. Prog solo there from Wet Dream, Richard Wright. That was re-released last year or the year before. Who came back big with this wonderful album, the 70s. Got progressive folk again from the Pentangle. And then in the late 70s, you got kind of wonderful new wave pop like Blondie. Second album, Plastic Letters, love that. And then into sort of 1979, and you got the birth of kind of synth pop, arguably, from the Buggles. Yada yada, we all know that. Most of us, I'm sure, have a copy of that as well. Age of Plastic, wonderful. Trevor Horn. Okay, so show a record by a band artist from Manchester. I think this is going to shock quite a lot of you, actually, because obviously I couldn't go for the obvious like 10cc. Rob had obviously already shown them. So, but it is the man himself, Roy Harper. Yes, Roy Harper was born in Manchester. He was actually born specifically in I think a suburb called Rusholme, which I believe is about two, according to Google, about 2.5 miles south of the city centre. So I think he lived there till he was 6 years old, and then they moved to the Lancashire coast, Lytham St Anne's, I think it is. Yeah, so there you go. Oh, Roy, he pops up all the time, doesn't he, eh? Okay, so number 6, band artist I listened to most in 2023. I'd like to say that it isn't, but yeah, it's Roy Harper. I just listen to Roy pretty much all the time. Yeah, if I'm not listening to him on album, I'm usually sort of looking through old concerts that he's done, that people have uploaded onto YouTube. Obviously, he hasn't toured for a while now because this guy is like 82. So, but yeah, I try to think of somebody else that I probably play as much, and yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't think of anybody else. So yeah, it is Roy again. So there you go. Quelle surprise. Show 7 7-inch records. Okay, so this is where I fall flat on my face. I used to have quite a few singles, like a lot of kids, when I first started buying records, probably in the late 70s. Basically, probably like a lot of us, because I couldn't afford albums because they're very expensive. But as I kind of got older, you know, you sort of taking them around to mates' houses, they're borrowing them, and so on. And I never consciously got rid of them, but they just disappeared. And I've got no idea what happened to them. So, and I haven't really bought 7-inch singles since. I just buy albums. They're much better value as far as I'm concerned. You get a lot more for your money. But I have managed to cobble together something to answer this question. So I've got three 7-inch singles, 2 of which came in an album and EPs, and then I've got a CD single, and I've got 3 10-inches. Okay, so I'll show the singles first. So we've got Françoise Hardy, French singer, and this is Les Disques d'Or de la Chanson. So this is an EP with 4 of her tracks, including, I think, her first single, Till les garçons et les filles, from, I think, about 1963, I think. So a nice picture of Françoise on the cover there, on Disque Vogue Records. This one, probably a lot of you are familiar with. This is the EP that came with the first issues of Elvis Costello and the Traction's 3rd album, Armed Forces. So I think it was only the first pressings that came out. I'd had a couple of copies already. It took me a while to find one with the EP. So, but yeah, it's got a live version, really nice version of just with him on the piano, of Accidents Will Happen. I almost prefer that to the version on the album. And it's got Watching the Detectives and Alison. Then this one is Beck, and this came with a reissue of his Amazing Mutations album that came out in 1998. And these are the 2 songs that were on the end of the CD version of the album, which are Diamond Bollocks and Runner's Dial Zero. Wonderfully eclectic artist that is Beck. Okay, and then a CD single. This is Supergrass and Grace. Yeah, I bought this when it came out. I loved the single, and then bought the CD Life on Other Planets later when it came out. So yeah, wonderful. Written apparently about Glenn Tilbrook's daughter, I believe. I think James Griffiths told me that, so I didn't know that. There you go. Okay, and then 3 10-inch singles. These are from the box set, Fleet Foxes collection, which brings together all their really early stuff and their first album, B-sides. So the Sun Giant EP, which came out before their first album, wonderful, with fantastic single Mykonos, an album track. Then the really, really early demo stuff, which is She Got Dressed, Hot Hot Rays, and some other tracks. That's really early. That's about 2000. I think that's from about 2005, I think. And then B-sides and rarities, which came on the CD. Some of these are on the CD. The initial run of the CD that came out from their first album, so really nice. Okay, where are we? Got 16 minutes. Okay, long way to go. Who's coming to your party? Choose 4 music-related people to come to an imaginary dinner party, past or present. Who would you invite? Okay, well, I'd actually quite like to go with some of the others. I think 1 or 2 have suggested some rather nice females, like I think it was Susanna Hoffs, I think was one of the ones that was mentioned, which kind of took me completely off track of who I was going to invite. So, but yeah, I know obviously the stipulation was it could be alive or dead. All of these are still alive, and I'll give you the names and I'll explain why. Okay. So I would like first Roy Harper. I'd then like his son Nick Harper. And then I'd like Jimmy Page, who's playing on this wonderful album, collaborates with Roy. And then also I thought about Kate Bush, because she's collaborated with Roy as well on at least 2 occasions. But then I thought of Dave Gilmour, because Dave Gilmour's had quite a long association with Roy over the years. There's Dave. And yeah, the reason I'd like to is just because I just love to hear how they collaborated on some of these songs. Just Roy Harper's just such an amazing character. He's just like, he's just such a unique artist. I'd love to know how these other artists kind of, you know, what was the magic of Roy? Why did they want to work with him, considering they all had very, very established careers and were arguably a lot more successful than he was and still are. So I just think that would just be a really interesting conversation to have. Obviously, in the case of Nick, that's his son, who's arguably an even better guitar player than Roy. I've seen him live. He's incredible. He's built his own guitar and he retunes it in literally microseconds, so he can just change key halfway through the song. Just the most amazing guitar player. And I'd like to hear his recollections, because obviously when he was younger, there was people like Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, Dave Gilmour, all these kind of rock luminaries coming around to Roy's house to jam, probably smoke a bit of weed, excuse me. And yeah, that'd be just great to hear stories from him when he was, obviously from his recollections as a young kid and teenager growing up, would just be utterly fascinating, quite honestly. So yeah, okie doke. So that's question 8. We lost them. Choose one musician who passed away in 2023. Okay. And it's gone. Where's it gone? Oh my god, I've got records everywhere here, guys. I had it. Oh, there it is over there. Oh, the wonders of just point and shoot, no editing. Yeah, that's the band. Obviously, Robbie Roberts' son, wonderful guitarist who we lost, I think, in August. So yeah, fantastic debut album from the band that supported Dylan from his early touring days in the mid-60s, and then had obviously quite a successful solo career as well in the 80s. I think yeah, that song was Somewhere Down the Crazy River, I think it was. Yeah, so that's something of a sort of a rebirth then. But yeah, fantastic songwriter and guitar player. Greatly missed. Yeah, Robbie Robertson. Okay. Question 10. Name 3 VC channels you discovered in 2023. Okay, so only one of these I actually discovered in 2023. The other 2 I was aware of, but I just thought for various reasons that it'd be nice for them to have a bit of a shout out. And obviously, a lot of people watch vinyl community videos and so on, so it's the tag videos anyway, so it'd be nice if they got a boost to their subscriber count from this. So yeah, the first one is Chris, the Suffolk record collector. So he's got 535 subs at the moment. Yeah, I've watched Chris's. He's been around for a couple of years, based down in Suffolk, obviously, in the south of England. Really, just great guy. His format is very similar to mine. It's just point and shoot, although I know that he was saying that he was looking at sort of upping the stakes a bit in the production wise. Something I think he wanted to improve on going forwards. But yeah, he just goes to a lot of shows some really interesting records. He shouted me out a couple of times for showing Roy Harper and so on, because I know he's becoming something of a convert to Roy these days, and he's sort of collecting his records. So yeah, but just a really, really nice guy, very relaxed style. Go over and check him out. The second one is Morten. Morten Ashtad, is it Morten? Sorry if I've mispronounced that there. Yeah, he's over in Scandinavia, a Norwegian guy, but he resides in both Norway and Denmark, and he's shown videos of him traveling, some lovely exterior photography that he's put in the towns of his traveling. Just really nice, adds an extra element. He's a talented guy. He's a cartoonist and illustrator, but yeah, loves his records and has done some really good unboxing videos recently. He's currently on 290 subs, so I'm sure he'd appreciate a few more. So, and the third one is my friend Graham Allen from London. Okay, so again, Graham's been around, I think probably, I'm pretty sure he's been making videos longer than me, but he doesn't make them that often. But when he does, they're of a very high quality. He's really into his jazz, his prog, and big ELP fan, particularly Carl Palmer because he's a drummer. Although I think he plays the bass as well. But yeah, he's done some really good videos about various artists that he appreciates, talks at length about them, very detailed, has a nice relaxed presentation style. So go and check him out. He's currently on 420 subs. So yeah, be nice to get him up to 500 maybe. Yeah. So that's Graham Allen from London. Okay. Right, question 11. Imagine showing or only listening to music from one country. I would dearly love to say that it could be any other country other than the UK, or the US for that matter. I could easily say it could be Brazil, because I love Tropicalia. I love those kind of Latin rhythms, and you know, that's genre of music I love. I've listened to that an awful lot, particularly this summer, because it just lends itself to that kind of music. But unfortunately, that's only one genre of music. So yeah, I would have to, and of course, yeah, if I was opting for that, I wouldn't be able to listen to Roy Harper. So I'd have to, could not listen to Roy Harper. And of course, all the other progressive artists as well from the UK, like John Martin, Pentangle, you got John Remborn, Bert Jansch, Beatles, Stones, Kinks, Led Zeppelin, the usual. Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, it's going to have to be the UK. Okay. So question 12. Show a record that you bought when you were a teenager. ABC Lex Gonna Love, 1982. Yeah. My brother bought a copy of this. I remember listening to it. I think I'd already heard the singles, certainly Tears Are Not Enough, which I think was the first single off it, which I think came out the year before. But yeah, Poison Arrow I thought was great. But yeah, the album is just fantastic. I mean, that question about feels like a greatest hits, I could have easily have had that for that question. You know, Show Me, Poison Arrow, Many Happy Returns, Tears Are Not Enough, the incredible Valentine's Day, Look of Love, Date Stab All of My Heart, ending again with The Look of Love, part 4. What an amazing album. Just wonderful. So many pop albums talk of, and sort of, you know, the lyrics are unrequited love and so on, but this absolutely just nails it down. And just, you know, between them, Martin Fry and Trevor Horn, they just did it in a way that's just so poignant and yet ridiculously melodramatic, but it just works so well on so many levels. Yeah, fantastic album. Okay, now we're going to turn the page. Okay, show a funk or soul record. Okay, I'm going to really start to speed up now because we're up to 30 minutes. Okay, so I don't think anybody's ever shown this. I was given this from Ben a few years ago. This is Eddie Sene, Step by Step. I'm not a huge funk or soul fan. There's people in the VC that are much more into that than me. But this is just funky as anything. It's completely instrumental. On Buddha Records, just wonderful listen though. As soon as I got it home, it was actually, the reason I was given it is because it was seam split at the top, but it was an easy fix, and I cleaned the record up and it sounds wonderful. just jumping out the grooves. It's got so vibrant, just fantastic. Listen. Okay, show a record you think everyone has, and then show a record you think nobody has. Okay, I'm fairly certain that certainly everybody that I watch in the VC will have a copy of this. So this is Hounds of Love, Kate Bush. Yeah, I mean the first side's just chock full of singles. Very successful for her, and it's still kind of, I think other than The Dreaming, most people's kind of favourite. Okay, I would wager though that probably nobody in the VC certainly has got a copy of this. So this is Roy Harper again. This is Born in Captivity. This is I think this is a record that he was loath to put out, but he was kind of pressured by his fans. And it's basically, it's the demo or instrumental versions of his Work of Heart album that came out in 1982. This was actually released in 1984, and that's the official release on Awareness Records. But this was one, as I say, that came out first. That just has a little note there from Roy on the back. As I say, I think there's only I think about 800 copies of this. So yeah, very lucky, and feel quite honoured really to have a copy of this. It's a fantastic collection piece. I'm very proud of. Okay, okay, She's Great, a record by a female artist brought in 2023. I showed this one already. This is inside The Old Year Dying. PJ Harvey. This came out early this year. Doesn't seem to be a lot of people that like this album. I really like it. I think it's kind of another left turn in the road for her. Very different. I call it ambient folk. It's kind of the best way to describe it. Okay. The favourite video you posted on your channel and favourite video you watched on the VC in 2023. Okay, my favourite video, I don't really like any of my videos, to be honest. I think there's a lot of people in the VC that make a hell of a lot better content than me. However, the video that I did with James Griffiths in the summer when I was talking about sheer heart attack, I really enjoyed doing that. That collaborative style video is just something that I really enjoyed. Great that he allowed me to do the medal one as well a few weeks ago. That was a real joy. So yeah, that was great. Definitely look forward to doing more of those. And my favorite video that I watched a lot that I really enjoyed. Probably the most informative though for me was Chris, Suffolk record collector, and he did a video where he was talking about Zamrock. It's kind of Zambian music from the 1970s, really vibrant psyche rock music with kind of their sort of African traditional feel. Just really intriguing. Just really made me want to go out and look for some, which I will be doing this year. So, but yeah, just clearly Chris really loves that style of music, and he talked really passionately about it, and yeah, it was just engaging and inspiring, which is at the end of the day what these videos I guess are all about. Okay, a record you describe as a 90s classic. It was a toss-up between this one and the last debut, but I've got to go for this one. This is Supergrass, In It For The Money, 1997 release, second album. Fantastic album. I mean, just there were so many decent artists that came out in that kind of mid-noughties period, the sort of the Britpop, under the Britpop moniker, and they were all derivative to a certain extent, and you know, showing the love of kind of 60s music, King Stones, Beatles, even sort of T-Rex and so on, glam, and sort of Supergrass distilled all of that, but they just still managed to still sound like nobody else. You know, it's Gaz Coombs on vocals. You know, it's that kind of, it's the sound that they get, just with a fantastic energy, just poppy hooks galore. This in itself is like a greatest hits album. Every song on this, In It for the Money, Richard III, Late in the Day, Sun It's the Sky, Going Out, Hollow Little Rain, just fantastic. Every moment, wonderful, wonderful. This is unfortunately a reissue, not an original, from the time, which I think were very scarce and very expensive. Okay, if you could walk into the cover, choose a cover you'd like to be a part of. No, I'm just joking. No, not that one. We've shown that one. Get together, Rob. Come on. Half an hour, 36 minutes. Oh my God. Yeah, these Windham Hill records, I love the sleeves. They're usually very, very seasonal and give a kind of like, I love the countryside and those kind of pastoral views. There's nothing more relaxing for me than to just get away from it in a field somewhere where you got blue sky and just open landscape ahead of you. It's just really almost like a spiritual kind of experience. So yeah, I wouldn't mind walking into that, particularly with the dreadful weather we've had the last week or so. Okay, 17, 18. Was that it? Is that it? I think that's it. If I've missed one out, I apologise. But I think the last question was show a record from 1974. So there you go. I've ended the video where I started 4 years ago. Sheet Music 10cc. Yeah, what can I say? One of my all-time favourites. Love it, love it, love it. And definitely a highlight for them. Okay. If I've, sorry, Rob, I didn't print because I don't have the ability to print off. I didn't have my laptop open on you on the list of questions. I did write them down. I've only gone up to, I think I've only done 19, so I'll probably miss one out. So fail. But anyway, really, really appreciate that, Rob. Thanks for putting it together as always. No doubt you'll do another one this time next year. So yeah, I'm now going to spend the next few weeks trawling through everybody's videos, but they're all different. Everybody answers the questions differently, so there's always something new with each one. So take care of yourselves, guys. Have fun with the tag if you're taking part, and I'll see you all soon. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.